Have you ever wondered how to create an APK file without an Android Studio or Gradle? Today I want to show you how to do this. So first of all, we need some files to create our APK file. So in my case, it's Android manifest, main activity, XML layout, values in XML, and main activity Java. So Android manifest XML looks like this. Then we have our layout, main activity XML, that looks like this. Then of course there are some values. In my case is only one value. And the last thing, it's the most important one, main activity Java. I use main activity in Java, not Kotlin, because it's easier to set up everything and show. But if you want to compile with main activity in Kotlin, you need to use Kotlin C. But it's a little bit harder, and I won't be showing today this thing. I want to show with Java. So this is the structure. The first thing we need is to get some Android tools that are used in Android Studio, but you don't know it unless you use them in command line, because okay, I download them, we need to unzip them. I unzip them. Here they are. I will delete this zip file, and now I go to this CMD line tools, and we have 4 files. The most important one for us is bin directory, and we have in here something called sdkmanager. Sdkmanager is used to download other Android tools that we need. So let's start. Okay, in here we download 3 Android tools. The first thing is platform tools. This is a general tool that contains tools like ADB, fastboot, and others. Then we have platforms Android 36 that contains our Android jar that we needed later. And the third thing is build tools with 3436 version API level, and it contains other tools that we use later for this specific APK, because each API has its own tools versions. Okay, we need to specify that we use sdkmanager from this folder, because we are in CMD line tools. And of course we need to specify a folder where our downloaded tools will be stored. So in my case, and we need to agree those agreements. And I specify that I want to have those tools in this folder, and we need to wait a little bit because it can take some time to download. Yeah, they are unzipping yet. It usually takes much faster. I don't know why it takes so long. Okay. And you might wonder why I use sometimes dir, sometimes ls, because it's much comfortable for me to use sometimes dir, sometimes ls, because Dir listed those things a little bit smoother for me, so that's why I use them. So we downloaded those three tools in this path, and we have them. So we need to enter build tools, and we have build tools for this specific version, and here they are. So the first thing we will be doing is using apt2. With this command we compile, we use our resources from here, so main activity in XML and values in XML, and we will be saving them as binary files. So I specify that I want in my build folder them as binary. So I enter, I display again, and as you can see, they have been created in here as flat resources. So now we need to do the second thing. Okay, and here it is. Now in this first command we compiled our resources, and in the second we need to pack those resources into our apk file. So the first thing we need to do is specify Android jar with this path. In my case, Android home is this previous mentioned path, and it's downloaded from sdkmanager from platforms Android 36. Then we need to define our manifest that I showed you previously. It's here. Then I specify a minimum and target SDK version, but it's not required to do. I just do it for myself. And then we need to specify where we want to have our Java file that contains our resources identifiers. And of course we need to specify folder where those resources that we previously created are stored. So here they are, and they will be translated into Java resources with ID in this folder. And of course the last thing is, with this command we create apk file that contains those resources. So we click enter, we show tree again, and as you can see, two files have been created. The first one is our apk files that contains our resources, and Java that contains, of course, our resources with identifiers. So those are just plain resources, but in here Java translate them to specific IDs. I can show you them right here. Build com hello world Java, and as you can see, our layout, string, and IDs are translated into IDs that which upon they can be identified in our main activity. So the next thing we need to do is this command. With this command we will be translating our main activity Java and Java with resources and identifiers into JVM machine code. So we specify, of course, like previously, Android jar with Android API version. Then we need to specify destination output folder. So I want to store those created classes in this folder, and then we specify what we want to translate. So I want to translate my main activity Java and my Java resources with identifiers things. So we translate those two classes in Java in this folder. Okay, there is a little bit error, and it's even better because I can now show you why it's so important, this Java file. So we need to display this folder once again, and we need to display our main activity Java. And as you can see, in our main activity Java, I define layout activity main, but in our Java file, we define that layout is main activity. So they are not the same. So what we need to do right now is to change our Java file, because we can't do that yet, by using, for example, some editor like Vim, Android this, okay, build hello world, okay, and we need to change it from main activity into activity main. I click insert activity main, then I click escape, colons, v that stands for write, and q that stands for quit. Enter, and as you might see, activity main now is rewritten. So I compile those things once again. Okay, it looks like everything works. Now I display it, and now our main activity and our resources have been translated into JVM machine code classes. So the next thing we need to do is to use a tool called D8, and we need to translate those classes from JVM machine code into Android code to be written by Android machine. So as previously, we need to specify library of our Android jar, then output, so it will be our destination where we store our classes. It needs to be a zip file, it's important, but if you don't specify this zip file, it will show an error, but everything will be working anyway. And the last thing, of course, are our resources. And I use this sign to tell this command that I want to use all those files from this folder. So I translate those files from JVM machine code into Android code to be written by RT. Okay, and I list that with 3 again, and we have classes zip. Now I want to go there, build dex, and we need to unzip this thing. Okay, it has been inflated, and we have classes index format. We can remove the previous zip file because it won't be used later. Okay, and we have only classes.dex. So those are our things. And now we need to combine everything, because now we have our on-site APK file. Wait a second, to show you better. We have our APK file that we have been created previously with apktlink, and it contains our resources, and we combine it with classes.dex, that is our classes in Android that have been JVM previously, and so on, so on. So we combine APK with resources with Java classes index format. So we zip them, okay, and they have been deflated. So I can't show you nothing. I can show you nothing because those classes have been okay. We made a little bit I've made a little thing wrong in here, because it's very important to not use this path like me, but it's important to use it only with classes.dex, because right now zip is wrong contain. So give me a little second, because I need to repair it. So instead of doing this, we need to doing like this. So okay, and we do it again, in this case properly. So it's very important to not do it like this, because it won't be properly. And now, after we combine our APK with resources and our Java classes index, so Android readable format, we need to use zipalign to optimize. It's like a compressing our file, our APK file, and we define our app unsigned. We define it this file, and we want to be saved in this build as an apksigner APK. And here it is, apksigner. So is nearly everything created, but the last thing we need to do is to sign our app. So the first thing we need to do is to use a keytool to generate keys to sign our app, so it can be downloaded on Android phone. So we need to enter some password, it can be anything. Then we can skip it by pressing enter on everything, and we need to type yes in here and click enter. And now our key has been created in here, debug key store. And the last thing is to sign our app with apksigner, but it's important to define this command like this, because Linux has other apksigner, but we want to use apksigner from this folder that we have been that we downloaded previously. And we specify our key, debug key store, alias, output, so the folder where our APK will be created, and our previous APK unassigned align with everything file. And we click enter. We need to type our previous password from the key store. And here it is, our app APK. So now we need to run some kind of emulator. In my case, it's emulator like here, but you can use, of course, Android Studio emulator, you can use your physical device, it doesn't matter, because our file has been created anyway. So now we need to use adb command, and as you can see, my emulator is working, and I need to use adb install command with this app apk file. Of course, because I am in a wrong file, in the wrong folder, because apk is stored in build, and here it is. And I need to run adb install like here. And is something wrong? Something is wrong, and I don't know why. Wait a second. Install fail, update incompatibility. Okay, wait a second. Maybe it's because I've downloaded this app previously, because I was testing whether it's everything working. And yeah, that's because I downloaded this app previously, but I use of course different apksigner key store tool, so Android won't recognize that it was the same app. So I uninstall this app, and I install the new app with a new key from a key store, and download is successful. Now I can run this app. It looks a little bit weird because it's just a very simple app without those resources, those default icons, and I click it and everything run. We have hello world. So thank you guys for watching. I hope I helped you in some way, and if you like this video, you can like it and click subscribe to see my next videos. So bye bye.